Hello, thanks for joining me today. I'm Jan Clothier of Thinking Stamping and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in New Zealand. And at the moment, our demonstrators are in the pre-order period in excited anticipation of the release of the 2023 to 2024 catalogue on the 2nd of May. And at last, my pre-order arrived, and so I'm going to share with you today the new in colours and a little sneak peek at one of the new stamp sets that I've purchased from the new catalogue. So we'll start off with the in colours. As you know, Stampin' Up every year bring out 5 in colours which are going to be available for the next 2 years. And you know, the one 2 years ago is about to drop off, and these 5 colours are about to join us for 2 years. And so the colours are Moody Mauve, Boho Blue, which is a lovely mid blue, Copper Clay, which has got a lovely goldy tint to it, Wild Wheat, and Pebbled Path, which is another lovely addition to the neutrals range. So what I did, what I like about these colours is, I'm kind of drawn to earthy tones, and obviously they are an earthy toned set of colours. They work beautifully together. Even if you don't like an individual colour, you know, you can appreciate how beautifully they work as a group. And so to test them out, what I did was I made a monochrome card, and I've used this lovely new set, Cheerful Daisies, which has got the 3 size daisies. It's photopolymer, 2-step stamping, so you can use just the outlines, or you can use these fill-in stamps to colour them. There's little centres, another little cluster of tiny flowers, stem and leaf, and some nice sayings. You made my day, oops a daisy, wishing you the brightest birthday, and your friendship means everything. They bundle with this set of dies, which does all the outlines. It does some little things which layer up. It's got a beautiful little label which fits 3 of the 4 sentiments, and there's a stem and there's a lovely sort of cluster of flowers which we're not using today. I'm just using the straight daisy outlines. So I'm going to show you how I made one of these cards. Obviously I've got to pick a colour. So I'm going to make my sample card using the colour that I thought I would like the least out of the 5 in colours. So I'm going to make another one of Wild Wheat, because I really did think that I wasn't going to like this colour, and it turns out I like it a whole lot better than I thought I would. So I'm going to start with a base. As always for me, this is half an A4 piece of paper, so it's 21 centimetres that way, scored at 10.5, and I've cut it at 14.8. Now, if you're not a metrics person, if you're an imperial person, just use your standard card size base as you normally would, because this is my standard card size base. So I've got my Wild Wheat base. I have got a piece of basic white which is cut 1/2 centimetre smaller than the card front, so it's 10 centimetres by 14.3, that's for the inside. So I've got my piece of basic white 9 centimetres by 14.3, and I've cut it narrower than my standard 10 to accommodate the strip of Designer Series paper, which I've cut at 1.5 centimetres in width, so that there'll be a bit of an overlap when I put them together on the card front. Now, this Designer Series paper comes from this set of in colour Designer Series paper stack. For each of the in colours, you get 4 sheets of 2 designs, and the 2 designs that you get are a bold stripe on one side and polka dots on the other, and in this one you get a little heart pattern, and the pattern that I'm using, the little lines. Okay, and so you've got 8 sheets of each of the 5 colours. Okay, so we need those. That was a little digression, sorry. Now, in addition to those larger sheets of paper, you need a piece of paper big enough to stamp your 3 daisies on. That is the large, the middle-sized, and the sort of the half daisy here. So I just stamped them in tuxedo black, and then I used these centre stamps and just used the colour that I'm using, the Wild Wheat, to fill in the centres. You need a little bit more of whatever colour you're using, the Wild Wheat, because I've die cut out a couple of these little pieces It's one of the little, oh, I must have left it on my die cutting machine, but it's a little, just like a little branchy foliage. And then I have white embossed onto Wild Wheat, one of the sentiments. On this one I did Oops a Daisy. Here I've done Wishing You the Brightest Birthday, and I've just used that lovely little label from the Cheerful Daisies set to die cut it. And the only other thing I've used is some white twine from the Twine Essentials pack. So once you've made all those things, it's actually really very straightforward and easy to make this card. So we shall crack on with it. I'm just going to adhere my strip of Designer Series paper to the front, leaving a 5mm or 1/4 inch gap. Nice and straight. The glue will give me wiggle room if I haven't. Okay. Now with my piece of white that I'm going to use, I've got a couple of things I need to do to it before I can start adhering. So the first thing I have to do is make an allowance for my twine. So I'm going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal on the back there just to provide a bit of stickiness while I get my twine. Now I'm going to put my twine at about 3.5 centimetres. It's going to, is that 3.5 centimetres? No, it's a bit tall. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement, but it was roughly 3.5 centimetres. And we'll just check that that is looking straight, which it isn't, so we'll just, and that's why I like the little bit of Stampin' Seal there, because it just gives you that little wiggly bit. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay out roughly where my flowers are going to go. 1, 2, roughly there, because I need to stamp in a stem. So I can see that I want a stem coming down there. So we'll just pop those off to the side, make a little mark there so I know where I'm heading my stem to, and then I'm just going to give myself a bit of a stem to work with. And once that's done, I'm now in a position where I can attach that there. So because I've only just tacked those on with a little bit of Stampin' Seal, when I add my glue, I'm going to make sure I give the tail of the string or the twine a good dollop, just to help adhere it in to the finished product. Okay, so now we shall line it all up. And make sure we're nice and straight. And then we can just give it a bit of a press. Okay, now the fun bit. So I'm going to pop in some of this foliage, because otherwise it looks a little bit insipid if you've just got the white daisies on the white. There's no exact science in exactly where I'm going to put the bits of foliage. I just want them to be poking out from behind my daisies. So we'll just get my silicone mat, a bit of glue, a bit of sponge, and we're just going to dabble that. Now the reason I'm doing that is just so the glue doesn't ooze out onto the front, onto the front of my card. So I'm just going to pop that there, and I might need just a touch more glue. That one there. higher up. Now, okay, so what's next? Well, we're going to have to pop on our lovely daisies. And this one is going to pop up there. And I better just make sure that I've got room for my sentiment. Yep, that's all going to work. So I have dimensionaled my daisies. Oh, can you hear the rain? It's just started to bucket down. Okay. So 1 and whoops. The other reason I'm feeling a little bit flighty is we just had a 5.8 earthquake about half an hour ago, and although it's done no damage, it does kind of shake things up a little bit because it went on and on and on. In fact, after the first 5.8 earthquake, it was followed by a 5.7 and 2 3-point earthquakes, all within about the same 10 minutes. So it's been a funny old morning, and it has left me feeling a little bit rattled, as I'm sure it has everybody who's been living here. Okay, so let's just pop the daisy on at a suitably jaunty angle. Now, when it comes to my sentiment, I've got the string to allow for. So I'm going to use mini dimensionals, and I'm just going to put them top and bottom so that there's a track through the centre to accommodate the string. In fact, the other thing I need to be careful about is that part of it's going to go over that daisy, which is already dimensionaled up. So I don't need to put dimensionals at that end, I just need to pop a bit of glue. Okay, so a little bit of glue, and then let's see if we can get this on. Yes, are you straight? I do believe you are. Okay, so we're tracking well. The next thing we need to do is the bow. I've almost left myself out of room for the bow. I'm going to cut about 20 centimetres for the for tying my little bow. Okay, and then we can tie ourselves a little bow. And you can tidy up the bow to look however you'd like it to look. And then we can just trim the ends. Now, the final thing is I'm going to add some embellishments. And there are these beautiful 2023 to 2025 in colour dots. And they are really nice. I really like these. So as you can see, the boho blue, the copper clay, the moody mauve, the wild wheat, and the pebbled path. And I'm just going to add in, whoops. Let's see, I'm going to add in a big one down there. And I'm going to add in the smallest one just here on the sentiment. And I'm going to add the middle one just up there to create that nice little triangle. Okay, and the very final thing is the inside. I won't do it now, I'll just show you what I did in this one. I've just stamped the daisy, coloured in the centre, and added in a couple of these lovely little leaf stamps, that little stamp there. So there we have it. There we have a little sneak peek of the Cheerful Daisies bundle and a little sneak peek of the 5 new in colours. Wild Wheat, Pebbled Path, Copper Clay, Boho Blue and Moody Mauve. Now, if you've seen anything in today's video that you would like to add to your craft room stash, all of this stuff will be available on the 2nd of May. And if you live anywhere in New Zealand, you're welcome to shop with me. There's a link to my online store in the video description below and in the end cards of this video. As always, I'm happy to answer questions, and I can be contacted through my blog or my Facebook page. And again, the details of those things are in the video description below and in the end card. If you haven't subscribed to me already and you've liked what you've seen, then please do, so that you don't miss anything new that I do. And above all else, everyone, happy stamping, earthquakes and all.